everybody. It's Ken Haas from Reverend Guitars, and I'm here in sunny, beautiful Chicago with all of our good friends at zZounds in this fancy establishment with all this fantastic gear and this fantastic human being right here, Mr. Rick Vito, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here.
We want to take a couple minutes and talk to Rick about his gig history and what led him to Reverend Guitars. Now, I understand that in the 90s, you were playing with Bonnie Raitt, and that led you to Joe Naylor and Reverend. I believe you played a gig in Detroit, and Joe showed up with guitars.
Actually, prior to that, I had stumbled across a Reverend guitar through a friend of mine, Jeff, out in California, and he had one of the ones with the lipstick pickups on it, and I just played it, and it just sounded great. It felt great, and he said, you know, why don't I put you in touch with the company? So he put me in touch with Joe, and as you say, I was playing with Bonnie Raitt, and we had a very important tour coming up, opening for a guy called Eric Clapton in Europe. Joe was very forthright in getting me a guitar with the lipstick pickups. I found that I didn't like that guitar live, although I like it in every other scenario. So he sent me one with P90s on it very quickly, and I picked that up and used that for the remainder of that Bonnie Raitt and Clapton tour. And yeah, my relationship started then, so that was 20 years ago.
So once the relationship with Joe started, it turned into a signature model rather quickly. I think it was 2000 or 2001 that we launched the first Rick Vito model, and we, at the time, we did some media blasting on an aluminum top in the back, and it's a very beautiful, highly sought after guitar at this point. And then we did what we now refer to as the Rick Vito Classic, which was sort of our Art Deco masterpiece with the pinstriping, and we did it in some fun colors, the Oceanside green and the rose metallic, and of course the classic black, and it had some really cool striping on the top of the back. And we did that for a number of years, but then a couple of years ago, you came with us to us with the idea for the Soul Shaker, of course, and check it out. Here it is. This is a Carina body, solid body. Note the satin finish on the neck, which is just for playing comfort and speed and dexterity. One of the cool features about the guitar, one of the things that gets commented on the most, is the custom binding. This black and white binding is made for Reverend by a company up in the Pacific Northwest, where they actually glue together layers of black and white plastic, and they cut through it horizontally in order to create this binding. So this binding is custom to this guitar and this guitar only, which is really cool. And we have the pearloid top, which is, of course, in this beautiful antique white. And these are Reverend's Alnico humbuckers with just some Art Deco appointments on them, like we used on the Rick Vito Classic to bring it out. And very, very basic setup with a volume, a tone, and a three-way switch. Reverend's Bigsby is, of course, completely dialed in by us at our shop. We make sure that everything is working perfectly on it and that the nut slots are perfect and locking tuners. And we put our special soft touch spring in this bad boy. So the guitar it's made to play, and no Bigsby issues whatsoever.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really like about this guitar. No kidding, it's the first guitar I've ever owned that had a Bigsby tailpiece on it, where it actually does stay very close in tune, and only maybe some slight tweaking here and there, but it kind of amazes me sometimes that it will stay in tune so well.
Now, what brought you back to sort of a more classic pickup arrangement? Because we have done a lot with single coils with P90s and things over the years, and this is the first humbucker guitar we've done with you. What brought things back around to the humbucker?
Well, you know, we've always collaborated, Reverend and I, with things of my. There were things about my prototype guitars that I have had in the past had made just for me.
Sure.
And the very first one I did, which I call the Streamliner, was a two humbucking pickup guitar, and I always kind of liked the idea of that. The prototypes of this had a split coil thing, which we later abandoned, but again, I got very used to the sound of a tube humbucking pickup guitar, and so I thought, I think a lot of people like that. The last guitar introduced a P90 in the neck and another single coil that looked like a humbucker in the bridge, but it was actually a custom-made single coil pickup that sounded sort of, great for slide and for my things that I do. But we thought that maybe people would enjoy, as I do, the sound of a dual humbucker guitar.
And do you know where you can find this beautiful Soul Shaker guitar?
Wherever the best guitars are sold, and maybe you should tell them more about that.
That would be at zZounds.
Oh yeah, that's true.